I did one of these on Ernest Hemingway, and I was disrespectful, severely, and I regret that. It's eating away at me. He was one of the dominant writers of his time, epitomizing the writer, more often seen as a scholarly retiring sort, as a brash, aggressive, I might even say a dashing figure, a real man. He seemed to have a hunger for experience, and he sought out exotic locales and dangerous exploits, which he turned into tight and binding prose. He was earnest about it all. In his later years, rather inevitably, because of that earnestness, he became a parody of himself, and that was no good for anyone. He dedicated the book I read of early short stories in our time to his wife, the first of four, Hadley Richardson Hemingway. I know a little about her. She was considerably older than he was. She was devoted to him and to his work, and she clearly believed that he would do great things and constantly encouraged him to do so. Thus the dedication. They had one child, a son. She lost a box of his manuscripts, short stories, for which he had no copies. I remembered she had written letters to him, and I'd read some of them, written out a few passages. I tried to find them, thinking I would not, but I did. Here are a few of the things she wrote to her husband, whom she called Tatey. A writer's job is to tell the truth. His standard of fidelity to the truth should be so high that his invention, out of his experience, should produce a truer account than anything factual can be. Find out what gave you the emotion, what the action was that gave you the excitement, then write it down, making it so clear that it can become a part of the experience of the person who reads it. I think it's already clear what a true and valuable partner she was, believing in him and the importance of his work. Why, you will write like a great, wonderful breeze, bringing strong whiffs from all sorts of interior places. You'll give birth before I will, and for you, Paris is the place to do it. Thank the Lord some young one is going to write something young and beautiful, something with the clean, muscular freshness of young things right in them at the moment of writing. Honey, you're doing some of the best things you've ever done in your life. You've got a good ear for rhythm and tone and lines, simple but as fine as the finest chain mail. Lastly, this. It takes a lot to hold yourself down to truthfulness in art. And up to the day of your death, you'll probably find yourself slipping with technical ease into poor psychology. But no one has a better chance to be honest than you, because you've got the will to be. Honestly, you're doing marvels of stirring, potent stuff. Don't let's ever die. Let's go on together. She had a younger lady friend, and she invited her to go skiing with them. I think that's how it started. Hemingway and the young lady struck up a romance, and she became his second wife. It must have killed Hadley when she learned that her knight of truth and fidelity had betrayed her, had been unfaithful. Hemingway must have known that he could never make it up. That was not so swell. There is a passage near the end of A Movable Feast. He's been in Paris with his new love. He returns to his wife and son at a ski resort town. He wrote, "When I saw my wife again standing by the track as the train came in by the piled logs at the station, I wished that I had died before I ever loved anyone but her." He goes on to say how beautiful she looked, and his young son was there, and they got back together, and it looked as if it would be all right. "We were invulnerable again," he wrote, but then they went back to Paris, and it all fell to pieces. He kept going, living and writing, but I'm positive he was never the same, never so self-assured, never so right inside. He did his best to make it right, but some things you can't force into being, like love. They have to happen, they're a gift. And when they're broken, they shatter, they die.